Hey guys, so if we want to graph on Desmos, let's click Start Graphing. And then once we are on Desmos, we can add a couple of things to our graph. We can add an image, so if you want to add a picture, click on this plus button on the upper left-hand corner. And I'm going to add image. So you're going to look for the image that is on your computer. For me, it's bridge of your architectural structure. And so now it's on here, and you can actually enlarge it or shrink it however you like. And you can move the graph, zoom in, zoom out on Desmos. So if you want to move the graph, you can change the center of the graph, and I can slide it X to the right 5. We'll slide it over 5. So let's slide it over 8. Okay, and then I can slide it up 1 or 2 units. That's good. So this is where my parabola is. Okay, and again, you can stretch it to make it more realistic to fit the dimensions of the structure that you have. So once you've placed your image correctly on Desmos the way that you like, we can now add an equation. So now we're going to add expression. And the equation that we're going to add, you can also add it down here as well, is the equation of the parabola of a quadratic in vertex form. So let's just type in vertex form. Y equals a parentheses x minus h squared plus k. And then once you type in vertex form, we're going to add sliders, and we're going to add all. Okay, and then that way your parabola shows up. You can change the color if you like. Okay, there it is, orange. Okay, so, and then we can move our sliders to try to fit our graph into the image. So I know my parabola opens down, so I'm going to make it open down. And I'm going to move my vertex to the right and up to try to fit it into that image. So my parabola needs to be a little bit wider. Too much. I'm going to go up a little bit more. Too much. So you can actually manually change this. So 0.1 is to narrow, and then what if I change it to 0.15? No, so 0.05. That's a little bit better. What if it's 0.06? Smaller, 0.04. I'm going to do 0.045. That looks pretty good. I'm going to slide it over a little bit more to the right. It looks like it's a pretty good fit for my graph. And then once you have it, you can make the line a little bit bigger by clicking on this graph setting and put projector mode so that your graph shows up a little bit more. Okay, and then you have your A, you have your H, and you have your K, and you can type it right into the equation. So I'm going to replace the A with negative 0.045. I'm going to replace my H with 7.8, and I'm going to replace my K with 3.5 based on sliding it to fit my graph, to fit my image. So here is your equation of your quadratic in vertex form, and we can actually identify the vertex. So if you click on the point vertex, the y-intercept, the x-intercept, and the two x-intercepts, all these values should show up. These are the critical points that we want for our graph. And so once you are at this point and you have your image, you have your parabola of best fit that fits your image, you've got your equation, and you have all your critical points, you can go ahead and screenshot this and use it for your poster.